I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, September the 29th, where it looks like a steady go for the fat cattle so far this week, although far from being done trading, but trading several cattle there Thursday afternoon and mostly steady. Look at the board on Thursday. December live cattle up 15 cents to end the day on Thursday at 115.05. October feeder cattle up a quarter at 152.95. The fats, like I said, your Southern Plains feedlot direct sales steady with the bulk of last week's trade at 108. Have yet to see any live sales in the Northern Plains. As you know, they ended last week late after the cattle and feed report at 109.5. Whether they're able to get that or not, don't know, but they were selling some Nebraska dress sales steady with the top of the market last week at 172. So good steady market so far, and that's better than a lot of people thought when we started out the week on Monday with near limit losses on the board and some limit losses on feeder cattle. But you know, the rest of us were kind of thinking, hey, they're slaughtering a lot of these cattle, and we made our bottom for the season on our fat sales, so why not get a little bit more money? But we pretty much struck an even chord there with steady. But like I said, yet to sell them all, and we'll see what it ends up being after they get all said and done. The slaughter looks like another record for the year. You know, 2 weeks ago, the week after the holiday week there, we set a record, or the heaviest harvest for the year, and I think this week is going to beat it if we get a decent Saturday. But through Thursday, 472,000, that was 8,000 more than last week and 15,000 more than the same week a year ago. Box beef cutout values have been kind of volatile this week, up pretty good and then back down and forth and back. They were mostly higher on the choice on Thursday, up $1.11, ending the day afternoon sales at 196.41. That's quite a bit better than what they were a week or two ago. But select is kind of stagnant and down 80 cents at 189.11, and we're starting to see that choice select spread grow up $7.30 there on Thursday, and we're just getting more interest in some of those higher priced loin cuts. And whenever they buy those, they sure enough want to have choice or better. So you start to see a disparity between the value of those two cuts. Your actual dress steer weights were up another pound this week, coming out with the actual information the week after the holiday week. 897 pounds on an average dress steer, and that's pretty good size. You look at your feeder markets late Thursday, your real-time index sitting at 151.89. Down a nickel, but basically steady, so that's a good thing, and we've actually made it through here. The way we started out, we sold these feeder cattle real well, and as wet as it is, I tell you what, we're not seeing it quite yet, but these stalker calves are really going to take off here. Been a lot of moisture this week so far in the Southern Plains and all your hard red winter wheat areas, and just exactly what the doctor ordered. But pretty much everybody had their wheat sowed and in the ground and ready for some moisture, and we got some good moisture. And you know, as we speak right here in Amarillo, Texas, been raining all day long, and a good, and not one bit of runoff. I mean, just every bit of it soaked in, and it's supposed to be up in the 80s next week, and I guarantee you the wheat will keep everybody up at night growing. It's going to get rank, and there won't be enough cattle in the country to stock this wheat the way it needs to be stocked here in not too long a time. But you look at some markets on Thursday. Pratt, Kansas had a lighter run, just like Dodge City, because it was so wet. In Pratt too, just 1,800 head, and just hard to move cattle around when it's that much moisture, and the roads are muddy and everything. But feeder steers there on a light run, anywhere from $1 to $7 higher, but an awful good market in Pratt. A bigger run up at Farmers and Ranchers Livestock in Salina, Kansas, a little over 3,000 head up there. You look at the automated market report out of Cattle Market Central. Feeder steers looked $1 to $2 higher. Look at that report, some of the bigger popular weights there. 300 head of 7-weight steers, average 745 at 160.14. That was up nearly $1 compared to the weighted average from the previous week. 430 head of 8-weight steers, averaging right in the middle at 849. Bring 156.02 on the average, up a little over $1.50 from last week's weighted average. And 345 head of 9-weight steers, average 952 with a weighted average price of $146.77, which was up a little over $1 from last week's weighted average. The big market on Thursday that everybody was talking about, and we do not have that on Cattle Market Central. We would love to have Valentine, Nebraska on Cattle Market Central. So if you guys are hearing that, get a hold of us. We'd like to tie in. And it's way up there in the northwest Nebraska. Did get some quotes out of there. Had a load of short yearlings in a thin condition. Good hard black cattle there. Weighed 629 at 191.50. That's $20 higher than anywhere around. You look at later in the sale, 2 loads of steers there, weighed 719 at 182.75. Now, a guy that knew told me that a lot of those cattle were going to farmer feeders, and a lot of those farmer feeders were in Iowa. And yes, that is Nebraska, but you cannot launch a rock from Valentine, Nebraska anywhere close to Iowa. There's a good $3 or mostly $4 worth of freight to get those to the Iowa line, let alone get them into Iowa somewhere. So those guys are really optimistic about the future. But look, that's your feeder flash for Friday.